Welcome to Between the Sheets with your hosts, Karla
and Elias.
See, we thought that was clever.
Yeah, it didn't work out. We are starting this new series that we've been working on for a while. We just decided to really commit to it, or try to commit to it.
So we've been talking about this for a while. It's mostly just like an advice column, I guess, but it's us in bed, and we'll try to have like special guests, but we're gonna pull like topics out of this helmet thing here, and we're gonna try to answer your guys' questions to the best of our abilities, but we're both incompetent, so whatever answers we give you are probably not things you should take out into real life, you know?
Maybe.
So should we just like jump into it? Just pull one out?
Or
just pull it. Pull it out.
Alright, here's the first one. How do I convince my girl to let me bust on her face?
Okay. Alright, you go ahead. You started, because
I just wanted to say, very eloquently put.
Yeah.
I think first and foremost, don't say that you want to bust on her face. That'd probably be a good tip.
Also, maybe sit her down, talk to her, ask her, see if she's comfortable with it.
Well, and approach it maturely.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say so, because I feel like if you sit her down and you say like, hey, all right, so here's the thing, I really want to bust a nut on your face.
Do not use the words bust.
It doesn't, right? It doesn't. But if you tell her like, I'm sort of into this, and I was hoping you'd be willing to work with me on it.
Also, give her the option to back out.
Yeah. Like, it's nothing you have to do, but I'd appreciate it if you allowed me, and then see if she will. It has to be consensual. I stopped myself before I said it because I realized it would need some context. So I think it's safe to say that it's pretty well known that I spend a lot of time watching things that probably, not everybody watches. Like, I watch a lot of porn for no reason. For no reason other than the fact that, like, I'm desensitized to it. But here's the thing, right? What I was about to say was, don't just, like, nut on her while she's asleep. Because that is
Elias.
Absolutely
yes,
a genre
I think
of
that
porn.
should just be, like, don't do anything while she's asleep. What the fuck?
But that's what I mean. Like everything has to be consensual.
A rule, always.
Yeah, but I feel like everything has to be consensual. This was my point to begin with.
Alright.
Make sure everything is consensual. Don't just do something she's not going to appreciate.
Well, we are coming into this, like, it's, no pun intended, with the thought that everything should be consensual. Like, everything should be consensual and everything should be approached maturely, meaning have conversations about it. And it should be open conversation.
You guys make it sound like it's a business. Like, it should be like a fun. I feel like it
okay. So off camera, Kenya says, in case you can't hear her, she says that it sounds like it's a business transaction, and she feels that it should be a fun experience.
For one nut in my
but
face.
it's also
you want to drink
But also, here's the thing, right? While it is true that it does sound like a business transaction, you also have to take into account that some of the stuff that you might be into because of what you've seen, like on media. Because I think it's fair to say that we take a lot of our experiences or what we think sex should be like from porn.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of the stuff you see in there, you have to understand that when these women are doing it, they are doing it with the understanding that, yes, this is what's going to happen. It is a business transaction before it happens. These women are auditioning, they're doing these things. But then you go on, you try to take it into the real world. You can't just take that into the real world. Because they're not coming into this with the understanding that it's going to end with a money shot on their face. You know what I mean? So you can't just meet a person and then have intercourse with them, and towards the end of it expect to just finish on them like that.
No, but
that has to be a conversation.
Of course, yes, and yes, it can be fun. It should be a fun conversation.
It should be.
It shouldn't just be like a black and white. This is how it goes down. Sign contracts. Like, like it's not. It shouldn't be just like boring, lame shit like that.
He broke the helmet. He's dead, dude.
Master Chief. Master Chief.
Master Chief is dead. Also, I think just rule of thumb here: don't tell her you want a nut. Let's just not say nut. All right, don't use that term. Let's try to avoid that one.
Please formally ejaculate.
Yeah, would you
like that either? Like, play with the idea. Proposal, like, is it a yes or no?
Okay.
Also, don't go the other extreme. Next question.
Next question. Did you always know you were polyamorous? All right, I think this is more for me. For
What? Fuck you, motherfucker. I can be polyamorous too. Nobody knows my life.
I guess nobody knows your life. Nobody knows my life either. She's right.
Yeah, you don't know my life.
Yeah, guys, don't be presumptuous. We're a bunch of jerks, right? Dicks. For those of you not aware, I am polyamorous, and what that means, what that means is I do believe in falling in love. I do believe you're capable of falling in love with more than one person. So
holding a relation, more than that.
Yeah, more than that, I guess. Yeah, I think what really helped transition into that, I don't know. I don't know how it really came about. Like when I think about it, I know Kenya and I had a lot of conversations about this before we made the commitment. You know what I mean? Like obviously this is something you have to talk about. I think the biggest problem we had originally was overcoming jealousy. You know. And then that's a lot of conversation because at least me, when I was growing up, I thought it meant the ideal way of living was always like you find one person and you stay with that one person.
But how long, how old were you, would you say? What was like the epiphany that you had, or how old were you?
If I'm honest, I think I was 16 at the time.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So evidently, according to Kenya, I knew when I was 19. But even at the start, I wasn't fully 100% sure that that's what I was. It was more about... She's in there with the questions. I think originally for me it was more about sort of getting around, honestly. And it wasn't until I actually fell in love with someone else while I was like doing something like that I discovered I was polyamorous.
Interesting.
Yeah. I would say no, I did not always know.
As for me, I am not, but I think it's a great thing. I mean, I have not figured out if I am or am not yet, but I will not cut myself off from that possibility.
I mean, Karla and I like to joke that we are in a relationship, but not because we like are intimate, you know, physically, but we are intimate like on other levels. Like we talk a lot to each other. We talk a lot with each other. We constantly like I let her know everything. I pretty much anything that happens at any point in the day, I'm telling her about.
Yeah. I've called you screaming about like
Yeah,
shit that happened in my
she
life.
has.
And I was like, because why, Elias?
If I have like an argument or a problem with Kenya or something like that, I will call Karla and just like talk to her about
I
it.
have considered myself like a part of his relationship, and that like I'm like I can't be jealous over like the time that he spends with like Nat or Kenya, but I want to be jealous. But I want to be upset about this.
Man, I tell you, it's hard at first. I remember always like I had to sort of talk to myself. Like I never really knew why I was mad about those things. You know, like you never really understand why. You're just mad because it's always been that way. You know, at least for me, it was always that way. I was like, okay, but why? Like I started questioning it, and everybody comes up with a different answer. You know, I'm not saying that monogamy isn't correct. It works and it's fine. But I'm just saying for me personally, I feel better this way, and I'm not trying to, you know, push my whole belief system or my agenda on anyone. So, you know, choose whatever you want. But I think make sure whatever decision you're making is something that you can understand why you're doing.
I mean, you've come, and he's also come from like a long history of girls saying that they're fine with that. Mostly girls, not that he's.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Let me
that
tell
they're
you.
okay with it, and then like somewhere down the road, it always turns out that they're expecting that you would fall for them completely.
Yeah, it always seems alright. It always seems to be the case that someone else who gets involved with me and Kenya always seems to want to pull me away from her.
Yeah.
I think it's because most people hear my relationship with her and they think that it's not like a strong, steady thing.
I think it's like people are used to having like to claiming somebody as their own, and it's like they never got the idea of like sharing is fine.
So here's my thing. One of my best friends, I've known him since elementary, right? And I think since the day I met Kenya, I told her from the start that if she ever made me choose between her and him, I'd choose him like every time. But then the same could be said for the reverse. If he had to make me choose between her and him, I'd choose her. But that's just because I feel like if you love someone, you're not going to make them choose that way. Like between people they care about, you know what I mean?
Like
so,
that should just be an understanding.
Yeah, that should just be an understanding. Like I never really understood when people tell you like, oh, you know, I drifted apart from that person because they started dating this other person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people who stop being friends with you when they start dating and then they come back to try to be friends after they're done dating. And I understand that it happens, which is like you can be forgiving because I've never really given anyone shit for that type of situation, but I myself don't want to be put in that position.
Exactly.
You know, I do love my best friend. I think he was the first person I ever fell in love with, and I hold him very dearly, like within me. But I don't want to have sex with him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Same.
I don't want to have sex
Yeah,
with him. I love him to holy
several-
death, and
yeah.
he means the world to me. But I don't want to have sex
I've
with him.
had several experiences like that with my friends. Where I was like, I will fucking like do anything for you, dude. Like I love you so much, but I'm not gonna fuck you.
Yeah.
Like,
See,
I'm just
we've-
and like for either gender, for like a female friend or a male friend, it's
Right.
just like I love you, but that doesn't mean I have to sleep with you. Like
This is true.
That's
She's
a
told me this very
different
times,
thing.
like several times. Like every time, I'm like, "Hey, Karla, so like, is today the day?" Karla's like, "No, Elias, today's not the day."
and then I go and I do a song and dance.
And she does
as I,
do a
like,
song and
walk
dance.
away.
She does. She moonwalks out. And that's the end of that.
Yeah,
Like it's
I
over.
do like Billie Jean.
Yes.
I tip my hat down.
No,
and
wait,
then
is
I
that
just
Billie Jean or is
walk
that Smooth
away.
Criminal? I think that's Smooth Criminal.
Oh, is that not Billie Jean?
No, because I think
Oh,
Smooth
that
Criminal's
is
only
Smooth
a
Criminal.
hat, right?
We both like whatever. What do we say? Thanks for watching our episode of Between the Sheets. That was crappy.
I guess. Well, I wouldn't say it's between the sheets because we're not necessarily between them, right? But what goes on between the sheets, maybe? I don't know. All right, look, guys, thank you for joining us. If you guys enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. It's the first episode, so it's going to get better. I promise you.
And we might actually get in Between the Sheets.
Yeah, I mean, we might actually get between the sheets. Okay, so please like, subscribe, share it, let your friends know, and
Like and subscribe.
If you
And
have-
I'm not pointing at my
not
crotch.
pointing at her
I'm
crotch.
pointing below this.
if you have any questions that you would like to ask yourself, please post them in the comments.
Tweet
down below.
at us or comment or, you know.
I mean, we'd have to put
Do
our
the
Twitter
thing.
somewhere. Yeah, do the things. Okay, guys, thank you. Bye.
Bye.